I have 2 children, and my daughter asked my son, this is a true story, she said, when you graduated from high school, if you had to go to Alabama or Tennessee, where would you go? And my son, who was, I think he was a 10 at the time, he looked over at my wife and said, I'd be a fireman.
All right, bring us up to speed. You just finished a signing period, signed a couple more players. Tell everybody about the new influx of talent for next year.
Well, we're going to have a lot of new faces. We're going to have a team that just has 1 senior next year, but we're going to have 6 new faces basically on our team. Marcus Thornton, who received the medical red shirt for this year, who started off and on for the last 2 years, was able to get the year back, and so he'll be back next year. Houston Kessler, whose uncle Alec Kessler was a great at Georgia, and his father Chad played at UGA also. Houston redshirted for us last year, and so he'll come off a redshirt year with Marcus and give us two new faces. And then we signed four players this year: a high school point guard, a high school shooting guard, a high school small forward. So a good group of permanent players that will come in, and then just most recently, with the loss of Contagious, we added a junior college player who has 3 years of eligibility left from a junior college in Texas. His name is Cam Forte, and he averaged about 22 points a game last year in junior college. So he should give us a scoring punch, but really a lot of new faces to join our team.
You had 3 true freshmen that played a lot last year for you. Brandon Morris, and Charles Mann out there in Kitty Gaines came on, scored big time for you at different times. How much better do you think that they will be this coming season?
Well, Charles Mann had a terrific freshman year. He was on the SEC's all-freshman team. I think that the great thing about freshmen, as you know, is one day they become sophomores. And so I think all 3 of them had terrific experiences last year. Certainly had some growing pains with the amount of minutes that they played, but they should be much better players. The other night, Brandon Morris started, I think, every SEC game for us as a freshman. And one of the things I said about Brandon is he needs a good off-season in the cafeteria. And Coach Rick just made fun of me the whole way home because he'd never heard such a line. But, I think those guys, as they get stronger, certainly will be more comfortable. And the goal with any team is to develop an experienced team. And with the amount of minutes they played as freshmen, hopefully we'll start to see that experience show.
Will they benefit? And we mentioned, if you look back at last season, my gosh, Mark, how many heartbreakers did you have on the road there in conference play where you were losing? Ole Miss took Ole Miss overtime to beat you, lose on the last second shot at Fayetteville, last second shot at Vanderbilt, a Hail Mary at Alabama. And that's what it took to beat you on the road. And these are young kids. Will they learn and benefit?
Well, I think those experiences, as hard as they were, they're what helps. They're what helps you make the next step. And I think the one thing about our team a year ago is they're very resilient. They started to develop a toughness and a confidence in themselves, and those experiences will only help them become tougher. And I think if you'll use the agony of defeat as fuel for the thrill of victory, then you can grow and become certainly a much better team and a much better player.
All right, let's open it up. If anybody has questions, Coach Fox, and we'll get a microphone over to you. Just raise your hand. And we got one in the back of the room, right back there. Yes, sir. Just stand up there. We'll give a mic to you.
Thank you. Coach, first question. I got 2 of them, so you got to bear with me here. First one, and the most important one to me, is how is Marcus?
Marcus Thornton is doing terrific. He's actually been doing his rehabilitation the last 6 weeks or so over in the football building, and it's really helped him to be around other athletes. He's the only guy on our team that's hurt right now, so it's kind of hard to do your rehab by yourself. And so we moved him over with Ron Corson in our football building, and so he's rehabbing with the football guys, and it's really, I think, helped him lift his spirits, and he is doing terrific. We're taking it very slow, making sure that all of his leg strength is back before he returns to the court. We've been able to shoot some balls with him, and we don't have him moving on the court yet, but they anticipate a full recovery, and he's really, I think, doing as well as we can expect.
Just a question, follow up about Marcus. Right before he got hurt, one one time we saw him do a little double head fake and a spin move where he split two players, and we'd never seen that before. And I think everybody in the Coliseum looked around and said, wow, and how much of that is his game?
Well, Marcus has really not been healthy since he came to campus. You know, he got injured twice his freshman year. He had knee surgery as a sophomore, knee surgery as a junior. He measured in his freshman season with a 41.5-inch vertical jump, which if you get a guy that jumps the vertical jump of 40 inches or higher, that's pretty good. He lost a lot of that, and the other day, still during rehabilitation, he measured at 35.5 inches. So he's on his way back. I think what you'll see from Marcus is some versatility. He's probably not going to be the slasher like that because of 3 knee surgeries that he's had, but I think he can still, because he's very bright, he can still be a very effective player, and he's developed the experience in enough positions that you could probably see him play 3 or 4 places next year.
My second question is simply this. You've made comments a number of times about the increasing physicality of the game today, and a number of coaches have. And you've made it clear that you're going to coach your players to be able to survive in that environment. I think the troubling thing for us as fans is the subjective nature. When a foul is no longer a foul, you can see the boys get really frustrated when they have to deal with the fact that it seems to be this is a foul, but the same thing out the other end of the court is not a foul. And my question is, what kind of conversation are you coaches having with the referee committee? Do y'all ever sit in a room and look at film and say, what the hell was that?
He does, but it's in a room by himself.
I'll tell you, in college basketball, scoring is an issue. You know, we don't score enough points right now, but we're not the Lone Ranger. I think college basketball the scoring average across the country was as low as it's been in nearly 50 years this past year. And the reason that has happened is that the games become so physical. Last night in Nashville, one of the fans said, how come football players are taking pads out of their pants and basketball players are putting them on? And the game has gotten so physical that it's really not as aesthetically pleasing as it used to be. The movement's not as freely done, and it's become a game that's become really about who's the most powerful. And this is a true story. We've taken a drill from our football team and implemented it on the court in basketball. And as I said that last night,
Right.
I thought about it on the way home. I said, we have really gotten out of bounds. And so we do, as coaches, have to get our game under control because college basketball is not better today than it was 10 years ago. The NBA has taken their game and made it less physical than the college game, and we need to follow suit so it becomes a more, a better offensive game.
Thank you, Coach.
That's a great question, by the way. Who else? Somebody else have a question? Just raise your hand. We'll get a microphone over to you. Somebody else got a question? Because one of the things I want to talk to you about is conference play. And the conference now has gotten deeper. And with the addition of Missouri and Texas A&M, and you swept A&M this year, Missouri attacked the team. What effect is it going to have those 2 schools now in the conference?
Well, the greatest effect that it's had is in our schedule. We added 2 conference games, and so now we're playing 18 league games instead of 16. That eliminated the bye week, which, the first time you go through it, you realize you probably have to rest your team a little bit more because you don't have that date in there where you can take a Saturday off and rest your players. But it's, A&M and Missouri had 2 good basketball teams. Missouri had a terrific team last year, and A&M has had a great last decade, and so it's made the league deeper. I think that as we adjust to get used to the scheduling, the one thing that probably we don't like about it is that, this year we don't get to play Florida or Kentucky or Tennessee at home. So the scheduling model is different, and it's going to take some time getting used to that. But I think it's really strengthened our league. I think it's strengthened it probably in all sports, and we enjoy having those 2 teams in the league.
Yeah, you have to play those teams you mentioned, just not home.
Yeah, we're going to go to Kentucky, to Florida, to Tennessee. So, that'll be a fun trip.
Who else? Somebody else have a question? Somebody else? Well, then before I let you go, I got to tell you one thing. You know that every senior that's ever played for this man at the University of Georgia has walked out with a diploma in his hand. And for that, we can give it up. University of Georgia head basketball coach, Mark